when you're in pain, soothing as a springtime rain, to have a friend right in your corner, your heart will feel a little warmer. Tender loving care, tender loving care, each warm and friendly touch lets someone know you care so much. Tender loving care, tender loving care.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Greenbrier Almond, and thank you for joining us on our program, Tender Loving Care. Each week on Channel 3, for the past 35 years, we've been talking about this interface with medicine, with Christianity, with tender loving care. And what better way to continue that saga than talking to a librarian and talking to someone who cares about our education and our nurturing and through books. And so thank you, Patricia Tolliver, for coming on.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, and you work as a librarian at the right next door to the studio here.
At the Upshur County Public Library. I've been the director for 2 years now.
Wow. Okay.
And I was there 10 years before that, so as the assistant director.
Okay, so you know the ins and outs of the library then.
I don't know, it keeps changing.
Okay.
I think Ben Franklin was right, we could count on death and taxes, but I think he left out change, and that seems to be something we all can count on too.
Right. Now I'm going to give you a book that's coming out today, and I'm not going to dwell on this tonight, but Stories of a West Virginia Doctor for His Grandchildren. Speaking of change, having grown up, I spent the 6th grade in a building that predated the building you're in.
All right.
It was a 2-room schoolhouse.
Yep.
We tore down the academy, which was a wonderful thing for a grade school student to realize that his school was being torn down. But they farmed out the 6th grade, Mr. Mearns, Paul Mearns, and Mrs. Hicks, Betty Hicks, to be our teachers. And we had the path out back. We didn't even have running water. We had a Mrs. Phillips who cooked in the hallway for us.
Oh, wow.
And she made the best rolls. So anyway, even if I never take a book out of the library, which I would love to do that too, but I have fond memories of your building location.
Okay. I do see your sister in there occasionally.
Okay, Kay loves to read.
Kay comes in a good bit, yes.
Yeah.
We enjoy seeing her. She's had some good suggestions for the collection even, so.
Well, that's great. You know, she has said and agreed with Dad. The saying about Dad from his sisters was that he was born with a library card in his mouth, and Kay we could say the same thing. And over the years, even as Dad had retired from practice and Mother had passed on, Kay would come and sit in the kitchen, and Kay and Dad would read books together.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and that was how they would spend endless days. Yeah. Well, tell us about you. How did you get into the library, especially as a librarian, and then do you like it? And tell us about.
Actually, I'm a transplant to West Virginia. I call myself a transplant. I grew up in Connecticut. Came to West Virginia Wesleyan, met my husband, and I'm still in West Virginia.
So Wesleyan, we get educated at Wesleyan, and we meet our life partners. Yeah.
Yep, kind of works that way. And I have a lot of friends that seem to have done that.
Right, my parents did.
And I like to arrange things, so that's kind of how I got into libraries, is because you got Dewey Decimal, so you can't. You can still find things, and you put them on the shelf in a certain order and that. And I thought that was kind of cool, and I wanted to find out about it. And I didn't really know, like most children of the 70s.
Right.
I didn't really know what I wanted to do with the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So I thought that library science would be a good background to go into just about anything else because
Sure.
of the resource. Being able to do reference work and that sort of thing.
Well, we didn't have our computers then.
No, we did not.
So,
we had to take our notes by hand,
right.
and we didn't. Even the copy machines, you couldn't always count on them to be able to read your copies. So
No, that's right.
you had to pretty much take notes in a whole different manner than they do today. And then, in the mid-'90s, beginning of the '90s, the State Library Commission came up with a plan. Because there is no school in West Virginia that offers a master's in library and information science.
Okay.
So they came up with a distance education plan with the University of South Carolina. And I was one of their first distance education students. There were 6 of us that did it here at this library. And I think we're all still friends today because it was very interesting. We still had the modems you had to dial, and it was tough just to get connected to the University of South Carolina because West Virginia didn't have a lot of computer access at that time. But with the help of especially Mr. Crutchfield at Wesleyan, who had mentored most of us anyway, he was very helpful and helped us to make the connections and things that we needed to do.
And Ben is still around and still very active in the parish house. And, and I know he's helped me organize the men's group at the First United Methodist Church, and a great organizer.
Yeah. Well, that's what I say. He really, he helped us a lot because we didn't know, and he was learning with us. Yeah. Because it was really quite a learning experience for a lot of people. So
now with Wesleyan having a master's in education, I mean, they might even come in and do something with library science.
They're doing a minor now. They've got back to when I went there, you could get a 4-year library science degree, but you can't do that anymore. They have recently reinstated the library science minor program. So maybe one of these days we will grow back. I don't know. It would be nice.
Well, libraries will never go away. One of my adventures of life, we went several years ago to take the travels of Paul of the Bible, and so we went back to Asia Minor and Greece, and some of the old buildings that are standing, those big pillared buildings and so forth, were libraries.
Right.
I mean, this was outstanding. People were wanting libraries even back then. And we'll always need them, won't we? I mean, even with computers.
I certainly hope so, because computers are nice, and they have their place too. And I have no problem with ebooks. I don't care how people read. I just want them to read. Right. And with people's busy schedules and everything now, sometimes they can't get into the physical library when they'd like to. So, having a Kindle or a Nook or any of the e-readers can help, people to stay in touch. But I really think that libraries provide a personal touch. Yeah. I mean, we know most of our patrons by name. We notice if someone hasn't been in for a while, we worry about them. Right. And, that's the part I think that
and there's centers for other activity. We have a lot of students. I mean, you mentioned the Board of Education helping out with the budget, and we're pleased to do that. And the school system work with the county on this. But students will show their art exhibits there. Maybe they'll have summer reading program. Tell us a little bit about what's coming up with that.
Well, first of all, every week we do have story time for 3 to 5-year-olds. The lady that does it, Bobby Long, usually reads them a short story. They do a simple craft. And it's been wonderful for people moving into the area with young children because it's given them a chance to meet others
and maybe we can
children.
even emphasize this because there'll be young children watching this. I've learned by experience because the TV stays on. Right. It's a babysitting service in a way. But children will come up to me and say, "Oh, you're a TV star. I see you on TV." And so at this hour, if you're a young parent and your child is watching, or you're a child, get your parents to bring you to the library?
It's Thursday mornings.
Thursday morning, okay.
We pretty much let the kids run the library on Thursday morning because, it's just a short period of time. But
yeah.
And now Bobby sees kids that she had, that are grown up and bringing their kids now.
Wow.
So
wow.
it's been a really good program for the library. Next week, the middle school art teachers are going to be setting up a display.
Okay.
And they had one back in March even. So we're excited to have them back again.
And so once the students' art is displayed, it's a public library. The public can come in. What are your general hours of?
We're open 10 to 8 Monday through Thursday.
Okay, so even after work, people can come.
Fridays 10 to 5, and Saturday from 10 to 4. So we try to provide hours when people can make it in.
Yeah.
So
a parent, grandparent, aunt, uncle can come and see the art exhibit.
We also had the 4-H poster and photo contest earlier, and it's just fun to see the kids bring in their aunts and uncles and cousins and everybody.
Yeah.
A lot of people will stop and look at the displays and that, and
that's great.
It's just wonderful to have all the ages represented there.
It's a very expansive library. I mean, we have another library in our county with the Charles Gibson Library.
Right.
And it was built Depression era. It's a smaller library in a building, but yours is expansive.
We are very blessed to have the library we have here in Upshur County.
Right.
We've never had enough parking, but we had to sacrifice something to get the building.
But you bought the Phillips property next to you.
The county commission now owns the Phillips property, and we're hoping to be able to develop it into more parking.
Yeah, that's an
so that
asset.
we can do more programming. Because it's hard to do programming when you don't have parking.
Right. And we're talking library and libraries all over the county and interest in library. Remember this, and I can say this. Next Tuesday is our election day, and the Charles Gibson Library has a renewal of a levy that funds that library. And every 4 or 5 years, it's always up for vote, and we always do our patriotic duty and renew that to keep the library functional and open, and so we have a vote, and it's on the election, and so check yes to continue the library, the Charles Gibson Library. Your funding has been cut some, hasn't it, too?
Yes.
But you're not up for any vote this time.
No, we're not funded through a levy, so we don't have to.
The county helps.
We sweated out the Board of Ed levy because that's how they help us.
Right, we can help you out because we know our students need a good library like this to go to.
Yeah, and so, we're happy with that. The governor had cut our funding, but then he put it back again.
Okay, good.
But now the county's having some issues, so we're going to take a cut from them. So.
Yeah.
But, they are fairly good to us. I mean, they maintain our building, which is a big thing.
Now, let me, one of the things I remember, and I don't think you do this anymore, but there was a large van that used to drive out where these Royal Post offices were. The bookmobile, and I heard positive things about that from people out in the county, but that's not existing anymore, is it?
It just got too expensive.
Yeah.
Because when it was first started here, it was with Harrison County, Lewis County, and Upshur County. Well, then Harrison County pulled out, and then Lewis County pulled out, and Upshur County just couldn't
do it.
Sustain it. And at that time, the Library Commission was promoting library growth in communities with the carousel libraries and different things, so that the outposts. We are actually a service center. We also work with 13 affiliate libraries in 5 counties.
Wow, okay.
So several of them are the outpost, and a couple of them are the old carousel libraries even.
Okay.
So, once they've got buildings in their own community, the bookmobile kind of went away. But
now, I've come to your library in the past when I was doing some medical project. Maybe I was going to give a talk to at the state level, and I wanted a particular journal and so forth. You can get material from the Library of Congress or various university sources, can't you?
Yes, we do interlibrary loan for magazines and books.
Yeah,
any kinds of
materials. It's been very,
materials.
very useful. Yeah.
And of course now we have EBSCO Host, which are actually the state pays for it, and it's a large database of newspapers, and that it even has scholarly and technical journals there.
Yeah.
So, it's made a big difference in what we can provide for, and we've been blessed in that the legislature actually pays for
a diamond in the rough right here in Buchanan.
Oh yeah, we have
County.
We have a lot of things that I don't think people realize we have. We do free notary service.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at all.
All the kids with their parking things and the athletes and all that, we do a lot of notary stuff for them. We have a fax machine. We charge $1 for the first page and 50 cents for every page after that.
That's a bargain, really.
I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to charge that, but for right now, that's what it is.
Right.
And we do have a copy machine, which actually belongs to the copy company, but that's 10 cents a page to make copies.
Really? Okay. Again, I think that's a bargain. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and even the computers are hooked up to a main.
Right, and you have a number of computers. You could come and check your email there.
Yes, we have 10 public access computers for the public to use.
Wow.
And then we have 4 children's computers that are not internet connected.
Okay, because you want to protect children because there are certain sites you don't want them to go to.
Well, and 3 of them are actually learning stations, and they have some really fun games in that for the kids. Wow. They get a lot of use. And
so if on a Thursday morning in particular, children should come, but they can come other times.
They can come anytime,
and the parents with them and learn a lot.
And Weyerhaeuser actually paid for they paid for 4 of our children's computers originally. And they've helped us replace 3 now. So we're gaining on it.
Wow.
So Weyerhaeuser's been very good to us too with grants and that.
That's good. I know the Bill Gates Foundation came to the Charles Gibson Library at one time with a grant. I don't know if they came to you all too.
Yes, statewide, yeah.
Statewide, okay. This is quite remarkable. You said you thought about library science back in the 70s. You didn't know what you were going to do. What makes you tick? Why do you say to yourself when you get up in the morning, I made the right choice, I'm helping people through books and library science? What do you say to yourself? Because I believe people, will have a motto. Maybe they'll hear their mother's voice saying, I knew you'd be successful because you were kind to people, or whatever it is. What do you live by?
Well, I really do like people, which was another attraction to the library.
Oh, yeah.
Now that I'm the director and I don't see the public as much, that's one of the things I miss. But, I just think it's important for everybody to read.
Yeah.
And I don't care what format they read or how they read it.
This is one of the things that has made America great, that is the public education, the ability for a high literacy rate. Just think about it. We would be a third world country if we didn't have, whatever it is, 95% or more of the people literate. Well,
and my grandparents actually came to this country from the Ukraine. And they never really learned to speak English. But my mother and her brothers and sisters pretty much grew up in the Hartford Public Library because it was across the street. And they didn't have money for books and that, but they caught on real early to, if they were going to succeed in life, they needed to be able to read.
Well, see, I think the same thing with Dad. In his era, there was the Great Depression. His grandparents spoke Scottish with a big Scottish brogue and probably didn't speak English very well in the home, but the library was his place to go to, and his siblings had a brother and 2 brothers and 3 sisters.
Well, and even growing up in my hometown, I spent a lot of time at the library. And it was a comforting, fun place to be. And
we used to have typewriters at the Charles Gibson Library. You could come in and type your term papers.
We still have a typewriter, actually.
You do?
We have one, and it does still get used because sometimes forms that people need to fill out for different things.
Yeah.
Still, you can't do PDF files, so they bring them in to fill them out. And one lady was doing her scrapbooking, and she used the typewriter for that. And it was sitting up in an office, and we weren't really using it, so we decided to put it downstairs, and And we have a scanner too. People can scan documents, and we'll laminate for people. There is a charge for lamination.
Okay.
But we try to find things that the public wants and can't find in other places in town.
Yeah.
Like the copy machine. I mean, the post office used to have one,
That's right.
but it's gone now. Even sometimes like tax forms and things like that. We had some tax forms this year, not as many as other years, but we still try to have some for people. Because
it
so
sounds,
many
it
of
sounds
the
quite
county.
unique. And I haven't rented movies, but I understand you probably have at least some collection, maybe the classic movies or the Disney movies or something.
Yeah, we have DVDs. We pretty much have weeded out the VHS tapes now because not too many people have the players anymore.
No
And
more Betamax.
Well, and what we tried to do was those movies that were still popular in VHS, we tried to replace them with a DVD.
Yeah.
We have audiobooks as well. Which some of the
Excellent.
teachers
when
even
people
use
drive
it.
in West Virginia, I mean, what a blessing to go on a trip and have an audiobook.
Well, and some of the people that like work at the FBI and other places around, they use them when they're commuting.
Yeah.
So they're fairly popular, and some of the teachers even use them.
And there are and one of the advantages, I mean, the people might not think about unless they do drive, is that we have quiet areas in our valleys where if you could be listening to the radio or trying to listen to some other communication, you cannot get through.
Right, even your cell phone won't work.
Cell phone won't work, but you can get your little disc of an audiobook and call the Wild or something and listen to that. And yeah.
We try to have the best sellers too.
Steve Kuntz and
oh yeah, you have to have Stephen Kuntz in this county. Good heavens.
Jane Ann Phillips.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we trying to think of something else that we do that's unique.
Well, tell me, I mean, while you're thinking about that, you just had the ramp feed.
Right.
Now that strikes me a little bit different, but it's a tradition, and it works. And so, because we talked about doing this show a couple weeks ago, and you said, no, I'm getting ready for the ramps. And
right. And we actually have the dinner in the library. That's something unique.
Right.
And actually, Kathleen Lofney and her staff from the 88 restaurant prepare the food. We have someone that digs the ramps and he cleans them, but then he brings them in and we actually wash them all.
Wow, okay.
So we washed 100 pounds of ramps.
How about that?
And then took them down to Kathleen and she prepared the food. And then we were blessed this year. We had several volunteers that were wonderful to help us because it takes a lot of work to set the library up for that. And, we had a good evening. I think people enjoyed themselves. We have a traditional crowd for the most part, but we're starting to get some new faces too.
Well, there's some of the ramp feeds that used to be are not anymore. I don't know if the Walkersville Fire Department still has theirs or not.
Well, and see, ours is a little different from a ramp feed because it's a gourmet ramp dinner.
Oh, okay. See, I have not been. I'm usually out of town.
We have ramp chowder, ramp quiche, ramp stir fry. We have apple dumplings for dessert.
So we'll see if the people that watch this show are highfalutin and whatever.
Right.
Maybe you should come to a ramp gourmet dinner.
We try to help them serve them, and we bring them their drinks, and we try to make it be a nice evening for them. And we don't hurry you off if you want to stay, because a lot of these people only see each other once a year at the ramp dinner.
Isn't that something? Wow.
Yeah, it's really, this was our 20th year, so it's become quite a tradition.
That is quite a tradition.
Yes, and we've had a few people that weren't real happy when they found out it wasn't a feed, but for the most part, people have found out that they get enough food.
Sure.
And it works out quite well. So.
And they're benefiting the library.
Yes.
So the profits go to the library.
Yes, and we had a couple of we had 4 basket raffles too that helped bring some money in too.
Okay.
So we did real good this year, I think. I think we did. We haven't totaled.
Okay.
We don't have our final totals yet.
Because it just happened this past weekend.
Right.
Well, on that note, and not that you have done this before, but what if you got a request for a wedding within the library? I mean, what if people fell in love in the library and they said, we want to be married? Because people get outdoor weddings. My own children chose to be married outdoors. I mean, they had a church service with my sister Kay as a pastor and things like that, but they wanted to be out in nature. But someone might want to be in a library.
We haven't had that yet. We have had high school seniors having their senior pictures taken in the library.
Okay, yeah.
We haven't graduated to weddings yet, but
okay.
The problem might be when they want to get married, because
Sure.
if we're open, that could be a little bit of a conflict.
Right.
But then again, if they want the public to come, that's fine too.
Sure, that's right. Yeah.
So we haven't got to weddings, but we have done senior pictures and.
But you're portraying it's a part of our community, a rich part of our community, and so many things happen. It's almost like anything could happen here.
Well, and we're looking forward to summer reading.
Okay, tell me about that. The children will want to know about that.
It'll be starting June 23rd, and it'll end on July 18th. They can register up to the 14th of July.
Okay.
They
get prizes for so many books. I mean, some teachers will give them a prize, so they can earn their prize by coming to the library, checking the books in and out. And
we're asking them, they can read anything they want, any books they want. We don't assign titles or anything like that. And they're asked to read either 10 books or 50 pages from a chapter book each week.
Okay.
And when they complete that, they'll have a log that they can bring into the library, and we will check it.
Okay.
And then they'll be given a prize, and we're trying to work out what kind of activities to have now, but there'll be an activity every week they can take part in, and they'll get a prize. So.
Okay.
And we get some senior grandmothers, and we have people that help us out with that too, with the volunteers. So
right. And you have one other possibility here that I want to touch on before we go off the air. That would be I'm running for the school board and for re-election. And last week I brought out at the public forum, as we talked about our issues, that we have a number of families that are homeschooling.
Oh yes.
And so I ran into a mother today. And I said, I would love to meet with homeschool parents because I want to know what's working for the public school, what's not working, and people have various reasons to homeschool, very good reasons. But she said, well, I'll set up a meeting at the library. So I gather these homeschool children use your library as a resource.
Yes, we have several families that are homeschooling and use the library.
And why not? It's excellent. It's an excellent choice.
We have several tutors that come in and work with students that are having trouble in school too.
Okay.
We see a lot of people in a day. We probably average between 200 and 300 people a day.
Yeah. I know you were a great asset when my father was living alone. My mother had died, and he lived 3 more years, but. Literally, he would go to the library and he would check out 10 or 12 books at a time. I would go back and read them for a week or two, whatever you allow, but he wouldn't keep them too long because he would then bring them back. And so the library was part of his social life.
Yes. And we have people that come in to read the Wall Street Journal because it's too expensive to get at home anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So they come in, and this didn't happen at this library, but my uncle started going to read the Wall Street Journal at his local library. And they ended up forming a little, what they called it, a club.
Wow.
And they talked about their stocks and their investments and the whole, and that was his social. My aunt was afraid he was going to be home all the time underfoot, so she was just thrilled to death that he found these guys to meet with at the public library.
Yeah. Professor Nair, my economics professor at Wesleyan, insisted that we read the Wall Street Journal every week, and of course he predicted if we did, we would be rich someday. I mean, we would learn how to invest, and all sorts of good things would happen to us economically. And I used to go to the Wesleyan Library and read it. I got out of that habit, but maybe I need to come back and find the Wall Street Journal at your place.
You could even access it from home through through the EBSCOhost database too.
How about that?
So. We can get you even when you're not in the building.
Okay. See, we're learning so much tonight. This has been really a rich discussion, and I hope that you realize from this that we have a county library right here in Tennerton. Of course, we have the library downtown, and the Charles Gibson Library has a levy coming up. Vote yes next Tuesday. But let's give the hours one more time. Mrs. Tolliver, so that people will know when you're open, and then they can come in and go over all these things and learn even more.
Okay, we're open from 10 to 8, Monday through Thursday.
Okay, 10 to 8, Monday through Thursday.
10 to 5 on Friday.
Okay, 10 to 5 is good.
And 10 to 4 on Saturdays.
Wow, okay. So there you have it. Thank you very, very much for coming in.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I hope everybody will come and get a library card and use it.
Okay, there you go. It's an open invitation, and it's we have free public library system, so let's use it.
Definitely.
Thank you. Okay, until next time, this is Dr. Greenbrier Allman thanking you for joining us on our program, Tender Loving Care. A special thanks to Channel 3 for this opportunity to come your way each week. And next week, I'll be talking about this new book some more, and it will be in the library in case you want to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much.
I look forward to reading it too.
Thank you.
Stories of a West Virginia Doctor, written by Dr. Harold D. Allman. A collection of 55 short stories about his experience as a small-town doctor in central West Virginia. And Tender Loving Care. Stories from a West Virginia Doctor, Volume 2, written by Dr. Greenbrier Allman, using videotapes to write 70 additional stories of his father's very colorful life as a small-town doctor. They can be found for purchase at Amazon.com and most local bookstores. Tune into Channel 3 Buckhannon for Tender Loving Care with Dr. Greenbrier Allman, where he talks about the connection between Christianity and medicine.